Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to model and texture this cactus using Maya and Substance Painter. I put the timestamps in the description so you can easily get to the part of the video that you're interested in. I started with a cylinder. You can modify the subdivision axis inside the channel box on the right. To scale and move the shape around, you can use W to move, E to rotate, and R to scale. To switch from object mode to vertex mode, you can right-click on an object and select vertex. To quickly select the top triangular faces, you can click on the vertex in the middle, right-click and press Shift, go to Faces and click to Faces again, then press Ctrl E to extrude them. Select the edge loop at the bottom by double-clicking on the edges and use the bevel to create a smooth round transition between the edges. If you want, you can delete every other edge to make the top and inside faces all quads by pressing Ctrl Delete. With the multicut, I added holding edges to support the shape in smooth mode. Usually, every edge needs another edge on each side to be sharp in smooth mode, so a total of 3 edges to make an edge. You can access the smooth preview by pressing 3. Use 1 to go back to the standard preview. For the soil, I created a cube, smoothed it twice, deleted the bottom faces and made them flat. If you select random vertices and activate soft selection with B and you move the vertices up and down, you can easily create a non-uniform surface, which will work well for the soil. To make the cactus, you can start with a sphere. Put the number of subdivisions to 12 and 8 in the channel box. I then scale the sphere with a soft selection by pressing B. Then select an edge, press Ctrl, right mouse button, Edge Ring Utilities, Edge Ring and Split. Then press G to repeat the command. This way you will create an edge in the middle between 2 other edges. To scale along the normals, press W first, then Ctrl, middle mouse button and drag left and right. By pressing Shift, right mouse button, you can edit the edge flow to make the shape evenly smoother. I then selected every other edge and I used the bevel tool to create extra faces that I then extruded with Ctrl E. I got rid of the end-on at the top with the multi-cut tool that I also used to make some edges sharper. With the lattice tool, I quickly edited the cactus shape. Remember to delete the object history once you're done fixing the shape. To create the stones, I started with a cube. I smoothed it twice and I extruded some of the faces on one side. I then adjusted the shape by moving the vertices, and then I created other variants by duplicating the first shape with Ctrl D or Shift D. If you prefer to have rocks with sharper edges, you can select some of the edges of the shape and use the bevel tool to make them sharper. Make sure to have more than one segment in the bevel tool options so all your faces will be quads, since leaving the segment at one will create some triangles. To quickly change the pivot from roll to object oriented, you can press Ctrl Shift right mouse button. For the spines, I started with a cylinder and I scaled the bottom vertices up to make the base wider. I again added some edge loops with the multi-cut tool to be able to well maintain the shape in the smoothed preview. And I deleted every other edge at the top to get rid of the triangles. To move the pivot of an object, you can press D, then move it where you want and press D again. snap the object to another object's vertex, you can hold V and middlemost bottom while you move it. Once I finished to put the spines on one side of the cactus, I grouped the spines together with Ctrl G. I then moved the pivot of the group in the top center of the cactus, holding V and middlemost bottom, and I rotated the group while holding J to activate a step rotation that rotates in steps so it's more precise. Once I was happy with the position of the group, I pressed Shift D multiple times to duplicate the group with the same rotation information. I moved and rotated some spines so they don't look all in the same position. I then selected and combined all the spines together with Mesh Combine, and I froze History and Transformations. I also combined the rocks and cleaned up the file by renaming the objects in the outliner by double-clicking on the name. I suggest to always clean the file by freezing History and Transformations before proceeding with the UVs, unless you already know that you'll need the coordinates of an object later. Our mesh is ready, we can start with the UVs. To explain it in a simple way, UVs are 2D texture coordinates, and UV mapping a 3D object means to turn a 3D object into a 2D one. The goal is to be able to cut and open a 3D object to make it flat, so the textures can be easily applied to its surface. You can see the UVs inside the UV editor. To automatically lay out the UVs, you can use the Layout tool. By clicking on the small square next to the tool name, you can edit the layout settings. I usually like to increase the padding values to leave some space between a UV shell and another one, and between the UV shell and the border of a UV tile. I usually add a camera-based UV projection to everything as a base start. And then I start cutting the edges by selecting them in the viewport and using the cut tool in the UV editor. And since with G you can repeat the last command, you can just select the edge and press G to cut it to speed up the process. I then press right mouse button modify unfold to unfold the UVs, right mouse button modify orient shells to orient the UVs, and finally right mouse button modify straighten UVs or shell to straighten some UVs if necessary. I repeat the process on every piece. You will learn with practice what is the best way to cut a shape, which is also based on the type of texture that you will apply on it. You can click on this icon to make the UV checker visible or not in the viewport. On the spines, I forgot to make the UVs before duplicating, so instead of redoing them all, I kept the original UVs that they had, since I will only apply a flat color to them. The UVs on the spines are overlapping. This means that they will have the same exact texture. You can add a material to the whole object by pressing right mouse button, assigning material. Once the UVs are done, it's time to export the model to bring it in Substance Painter. Before exporting, remember to duplicate the mesh and smooth it twice or more. Inside Substance, you will see the model like you see it in Maya in the standard view, that you can access by pressing 1 on the keyboard. Then select the smoothed model, freeze history and transformations, and go to File, Export Selection, and select either OBJ or FEX.